And so for those of our viewers that just tuned in, I'm doing a live. I'm Grace Pedota with the CSE, and I am doing a live Instagram with Paul Pedersen, CEO at Nextleaf. So Paul, do you want to just kind of talk about your recent news with Nextleaf?
Sure. Yeah. So just recently we announced two extraction deals for a total of 25 metric tons of biomass processing. So excited about it. I mean, for us, it's been a 3-year process from design, licensing, build out, and obviously exciting to get into commercial scale production. And I think 3 years ago we really looked at the opportunity being a company that would focus on doing extraction at a very large scale, and so it just it's exciting times despite everything that's happening globally and all that. Obviously cannabis growers are going to keep growing, and the industry will keep moving forward. So we're just excited to get into full scale production and get the biomass rolling here. 25 tons
Nice.
is going to keep us busy here for a few months. So.
Awesome. And for those of our viewers that don't know, what does Nextleaf do?
Yeah, so Nextleaf is a Canadian extraction company. We have a licensed businesses built around toll processing and selling bulk cannabinoids to companies that manufacture edibles and other products. We do some manufacturing in-house, but really our core business is built around large scale primary extraction, distillation, and the sale of wholesale of bulk cannabinoids. We have built a platform proprietary system, developed over 20 issued patents around our end-to-end process and distillation, and we think that it's a great time to be a processor with all this biomass out there.
And you just had recent news that you came into a recent cannabis extraction agreement with an Atlantic Canadian producer. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, obviously Atlantic Canada is a very important place for us. Our CFO is based there. We got a lot of great shareholders in Atlantic Canada, and we really like that region.
Good.
And so for us, it's a very strategic customer, private company. Company that has very strong sales in Atlantic Canada. So for us, it's one of these relationships that we like. We think it's very synergistic in the sense that company that's done a great job with cultivating premium flower that consumers say is premium, and so we think a lot of synergies now in working with companies that recognize that. Makes sense to work with partners and as opposed to trying to do it all yourself. So we think that for us, this is going to allow us to put a lot of Nextleaf distillate into Atlantic Canada through our partners, and I think always looking forward to working with like-minded companies where we've really said from day one we'd never want to try to do it all ourselves. We think that philosophy has been a very, very expensive sort of mistake that a lot of larger companies have made. The early LPs that are vertically integrated, and we've really taken the different approach. For the last 3 years, we've said we're just going to do one thing, and we're going to try to do that one thing exceptionally well. And so I think now what we're starting to see in the marketplace across Canada is more companies that specialize, whether that's on the retail side, on the manufacturing side, on the cultivation side, or on the extraction side, as opposed to kind of again, vertical integration and trying to do it all yourself.
Yeah, amazing. And I think you had mentioned as well that with this agreement, you really wanted to partner with a brand that kind of resembled trust.
Yeah.
And do you think that that's like a big factor when it comes to edibles and beverages
Absolutely.
and topicals? Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, brands matter. I mean, brands matter in every consumer packaged good industry, and it matters in cannabis. And the challenges in cannabis, your brand is only as good as the product in the bottle. And there has been, quite frankly, there's been a lot of crappy weed grown and sold, and it's hard to build a brand on a product that isn't very good, that's more expensive than what's available in the illicit market. I think with 2.0 products, that really changes, because simply it comes down to being able to sell what is a standardized product. And when you're putting in distillate into an edible or into a gummy, distillate is more of a commodity. Obviously, there's different grades and all that, but I think we're very excited to see companies really build their brands out in this new market with edibles, topicals, and all the 2.0 products, because we think that for the first time that it's going to be actually I think a lot easier for these companies to build brands, especially with the government. I think we will see regulation get dropped on some of the restrictions of marketing. I mean, obviously it's very challenging with anyone to build a consumer brand in this sort of environment. But for us, we're not in the brand building business. We are in the business of producing molecules on a low cost basis. And we think that by being able to wholesale bulk molecules cheaper than a lot of companies could produce them themselves. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
Technical issues. Yeah. I don't know where we left off there. What were we saying? I think you were talking about edibles, beverages, and just kind of like, going and getting good brands to pair with you, not doing it alone, focusing on something that you're good at. And then just next question, are you seeing an increased demand for more THC distillate or like CBD?
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's not a lot of CBD out there. And it's something that you see at retail. In BC during the pandemic, it's been hard to get CBD oil at retail, and what's available is a CBD bottled oil with a vegetable oil carrier. Everybody in Canada seems to be kind of growing for THC, and I think there was a lot of companies that expected the CBD source to come from hemp, and there's a lot of challenges. I mean, it always sounds easy to do these things in a boardroom. And I think there's been lots of challenges for CBD oil production from Canadian hemp due to a whole bunch of reasons, from genetics to challenges with potency and issues with processing what has historically been bred for hemp. So really, there's I would say a shortage of CBD oil based products right now in the marketplace. So obviously we're excited about that. We see it as a big opportunity. Really what it comes down to is companies that are running off the shelf CO2 platforms have a challenge in running CBD hemp biomass profitably, because you're dealing with material that is 4 or 5%. And so I think that is really some of the reasons that we're not seeing as much CBD oil in the marketplace. But looking forward with all the 2.0 products, we think things like CBD mints, CBD gummies, these are going to be really popular commercial products. They are in the illicit market, and they're going to be I think extremely popular as the Shoppers Drug Marts of the world start to be able to kind of roll out adult use products at some point in the future, and retail starts opening up, and more of these products become available. I mean, it's hard to believe that here we are in April of 2020, and you still in BC anyways can't buy a legal topical infused with CBD and THC. I mean, hard to believe, but obviously legalization and being the first developed country to legalize cannabis,
it's going to take some time.
It's going to take some time. It wasn't going to happen overnight, but I think what we're starting to see now on some of the 2.0 products, some of the bigger producers like the Organigrams, the Afrias of the world that reported yesterday, I think the sales of kind of first month of vape products was I think very positive for the legal market, and 2020 is going to be a very interesting year, because the legal market did $1 billion in sales last year, and I think should do 3 to 4 this year, depending on obviously, retail and what happens with COVID. But I think just even just the online aspect and actually having products that consumers want, it's not perfect. There's still a lot of challenges and a lot of rules that will need to get relaxed. And I think there's still a lot of innovation and more importantly, manufacturers that are going to need to come online, but it's coming.
Yeah,
We're
I
pretty
think
excited
so.
about it.
I think extraction is the next biggest thing. We see it a lot of reports as well, but it's that, flower versus extraction kind of thing. And, what users will do, what are they turning to first? But, are you seeing like a lot of, like an extraction bottleneck with the legalization of edibles and beverages?
For sure. I mean, the biggest bottleneck would be on the extraction and manufacturing side right now. So kind of, and I separate those areas. I mean, it's all considered processing in Canada, but what we see today is a number of companies that are focused on manufacturing products aren't up to full scale production yet. They don't have sales licenses. Some aren't licensed yet. There's a couple of very large edible producers that will be coming online over the next few months. So I think, for us, we're really excited about that because that fixes one bottleneck. For us, we don't worry about the extraction bottleneck. We can process half a ton a day of weed into refined oil, and so for us, we do recognize that the extraction side has been a bottleneck. I mean, up until a few months ago, there was really only two kind of third-party processor extraction companies in Canada that were running at any sort of scale, being Valens and Medifarms. And if you look at the amount of hemp that was grown in Canada not being processed, if you look at the amount of cannabis, there's over 400 tons in vaults as of November. Who knows where that number is today? And obviously there's now over 20 million square feet of outdoor cultivation coming online this summer, leading
Wow.
to Canada's biggest ever, or the world's ever, I guess you could say, legal outdoor harvest. It'll be this fall. So those numbers of dried biomass are going to soar. There's not enough CO2 extractors on this planet to process all that material. And I think we've seen the same thing in the U.S. with all this hemp. I think there was a report that said something like 8% of all the U.S. hemp could be processed into oil. So, processing will continue to be a bottleneck on both the extraction and manufacturing side. And then again, it's all about getting those products to market. So you're going to need retailers to roll out. You're going to need the Ontario Cannabis Store to approve of more retailers. I mean, obviously, what do we have now? 52 in
Yeah,
Ontario.
something like that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and on that subject too, a lot of people who are purchasing oils through OCS or online are finding that the prices are a little bit higher than if they were to just go to a store or
Yeah.
even the illicit market. Can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's the biggest challenge, to me is like, we know how big the market is. We know that, cannabis, Canadians consume six to $8 billion worth a year. And as of right now, or as of last year, I guess we'd say, all but 1 billion came from the illicit market. And that's the $1 million question. How
Yeah.
does any producer, whether it's Nextleaf or, the biggest cannabis company in the world, how does any legal producer win market share away from the illicit market? And for a lot of consumers, I got to be honest, a lot of consumers don't care. Consumers are willing to pay 20-30% more for
That's
the
good.
same quality product. Yeah, if it's good weed, they'll
Yeah.
you'll pay 20-30% more. But Grace, like you as a consumer, aren't going to pay 100% more or
No.
80% more than the illicit market. And that's been the challenge. The challenge has been there's been a lot of shitty weed out there, and that's been more expensive than a better illicit product. But there lies the opportunity, I think, with oils, because quite
Hmm.
frankly, we think that the illicit market will be very, very challenged to compete on price per milligram. And good weed will sell north of $10 a gram. but it's the crappy stuff that won't sell. And then I think when you look at oil, you look at, what's the price per milligram, and if you go buy oil today, you're paying in the legal market for like a CBD, let's call it, CBD product that is in short supply. You're 15 to 30 cents per milligram of CBD. That's quite a bit higher than what's in the illicit market. And so we think that that's the big opportunity for companies that have built proprietary systems, have a cost advantage, cost of production advantage, and then obviously as the cost of biomass comes down for an extractor, the cost of biomass is 80 to 90% of our COGS. So we really see the opportunity to put a ton of pressure on the price per milligram of THC and CBD distillate. Our sort of commercialization strategy is run lean, low cost model, and put a ton of pressure on the legal market, put a ton of pressure on companies that run less efficient methodology, and more importantly, I think consumers and medical patients will benefit as this is a race to the bottom. It just comes down to how fast we get there. I mean, obviously, I'm getting beaked off here about quality, but that's a great comment. And what I will say about quality is in dried flower, quality absolutely matters. Quality matters more than anything. But when you're talking about distillate, there's different, and refined oil, there's different qualities of distillate. Some will have a bad smell to it, but at the end of the day, once you get to that 90+% refined distillate, you're talking about molecules, and you're talking about like standardization, and a molecule is a molecule. And at the end of the day, once everyone's on that same level of quality or that same level of standardization, it simply comes down to price. And that's why, that's where distillate, we're, I think excited about, because you don't make distillate with premium flower. You make distillate with junk, with lower grade stuff, with weed that's been grown outside, stuff that's in a greenhouse that can't be sold, stuff that's been sitting in inventories for months. It's about utilizing a higher percentage of the plant, being more efficient. That's what every single large producer needs to do in this country. And I think, distillate is going to drive quality products, but distillate is an ingredient. It's just like sugar, right?
Yeah.
Sugar is sugar. It's all about the baker that puts that sugar into something that tastes great, and consumers want to pay a premium for, and that's where quality matters. And again, I always like to talk about distillate in those terms, because I think it's really accurate. And I think, the marketing folks, everybody out there likes to talk about premium this and premium that, but with oil, you are talking about more of a commodity product, and that's where, efficiency and cost are, in our belief, are going to be drivers of success.
Amazing. Yeah. Very passionate about the subject.
Been doing this over a while. Yeah.
I know you have. You're a huge advocate for it, and you know a lot. It's awesome. And you're listed on the CSE, and you're listed on OTC, and you're listed on the Frankfurt. Why are you listed on? What is the strategy behind listing on 3 different exchanges? So one, like a Canadian, American, and European.
Interestingly, we actually didn't list ourselves on the Frankfurt. One of our shareholders, or just some rogue market maker did. So that was interesting. When you learn all these things, what can happen in other markets, similar to the U.S. When we listed on the CSE, we were listed on the pink sheets, and then we ended up getting a OTC QB listing. For us, all we care about is being listed in Canada and in the US, and we think that the CSE is a great exchange for us. We really enjoy being a CSE issuer. For years, we had worked with the TSX venture, and I think for us it's an absolute no-brainer as a company to list on the CSE. I think you guys have been the most forthcoming with the cannabis industry. You guys have been great to work with, even our friends down south, all the federally illicit producers. The CSE doesn't have a problem listing, where obviously they're not welcome on the TSXV. So for us, it's all about access to capital. We like being in the capital markets because our friends, family, all the folks out there that that are in the industry or like to invest in cannabis stocks can play. And you know, for us, we think that it's all about access to capital and being able to scale our business. And you know, that was really the thought process about going public last year. And I guess it was about a year ago now that we listed on the CSE. So it's been a good experience for us.
That's amazing. That's really good. And where are you quarantining?
Yeah,
Just in Vancouver?
in Vancouver, as I mentioned, I'm a non-essential part of Nextleaf, so our corporate team is all working from home. And I guess it was about 2 weeks that I didn't go to the production facility, and obviously that's continued to run. You know, just so proud of the team that's working there. When I stopped in just to see everybody, I wanted to give everybody big hugs, but obviously got to do that from 6 feet away. And you know, for us, this is a really personal journey. I mean, this is 3 years of our life. But before that, Charles, our CFO, and myself were at Peace Naturals working with the founders, and that was bittersweet when we got bought out by the guys behind Kronos Group. And so for us, you know, we started Nextleaf right after that, and you know, this 3-year journey from you know, seeing very disruptive technology in the legacy market, developing, you know, patents around that, scaling that up, and really surrounding Ryan and the team with chemical engineers and chemists have allowed us to put something together we're really excited about it. And you know, now, you know, despite this coronavirus, very exciting times, because you know, it's a lot of work to do something that no one's ever done before at this type of scale. Mm-hmm. And where all the hoops that you got to jump through from a Health Canada perspective, from a municipal perspective, it's you know, the barriers to entry to legal cannabis are very, very high. And I think we've had a lot of people, employees, shareholders, you know, folks in the industry that have really helped us. And we're 20 strong right now, and for us, it's wartime.
Yeah.
We're focused on the task at hand, building a great business, and you know, keeping everybody safe, and continuing to you know, focus on executing on our business plan. And I don't know how long this COVID is going to go on for. I think that, you know, this is going to be 2 years. I think this is a new normal for some time. And what we always I think take a lot of comfort in is the fact that cannabis is a more healthy alternative than alcohol and other recreational substances. And I think in these times, we're already seeing, you know, sales of alcohol go up, and you know, people that are stressed out and stuck in their home, you know, consuming booze and consuming other substances more, including cannabis. And we think that if we can help by making that a little bit more affordable, by helping brands get to market more efficiently with a lower cost, and to continue to work with farmers to help them to monetize their lower grade material, their lower grade biomass, you know, it's going to be mission accomplished for us. And you know, just continue to really again, block out the noise and keep pushing ahead. It's exciting times. I always say you only get one opportunity to be right in the front lines of cannabis being legalized. You're going to see, obviously, more countries that follow Canada's lead, but for right now,
and for many is Canada.
Yeah, and for many of us, we're not going to get this opportunity again. So, you know, we're continuing to again focus on what we need to do, and keep pushing ahead every single day.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me on Instagram Live. Is this your first one, or you've done a couple? My
first one, actually, on Instagram Live. I participated when you guys had Richard, your CEO.
Yes. Yeah.
So you know what, I think you know, this is great. This is fun to you know, connect. We've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings. We did our first Zoom plant tour last week. I guess that's amazing. The new normal with partners, and you know, obviously that's the new normal now. So now it's about finding technology platforms and solutions that we can all connect on, and so hope to do this again. Yeah.
And where can everybody kind of access or see more about Nextleaf? Is there any social media what's your website?
Yeah, I think Instagram, Twitter, those are probably the LinkedIn. Those are the three platforms that NextLeaf is most active on. You can sign up for our investor email list where we send out our press releases and communication to our team.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Paul. It was great chatting with you today.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for your time, Grace, and everyone for joining.
Yeah, thank you.